We all have emotions. Surprise! And we all have intense emotions. And sometimes people do or say things that really trigger us, that really upset us, that bring out those intense emotions. And then we end up doing or saying things that we regret later. And that does not feel good. So in this video, I'm going to teach you a 4-letter acronym, 4 things, a 4-step process for dealing with those intense emotions when they come up before we do or say anything that we end up feeling bad about or guilty about or ashamed of later on. My name is Julia Christina, and I am a therapist, researcher, and online course creator. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, and I work to help men and women get through the crap that is holding them back so they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And we all have intense emotions. We all have times where something happens or something is said or something is done, and it really gets to us. It really impacts us. It really brings out an intense reaction from us. Maybe it's that knife to the stomach feeling, or it's the hotness in the head, or it's the tightness in the chest, or you get that tingling sensation all over your body. And that's what happens when we're getting really triggered, when something happens that really upsets or angers or impacts us in a big negative way. We get these physical responses automatically. We don't choose to, it just automatically happens because what's going on is when we're feeling threatened in those ways, our body is getting into fight mode. So that means that the blood and the oxygen from our brain is going down into our organs, it's going down into our limbs, it's getting ready to fight, it's getting ready to defend. And so we're not thinking as clearly or as logically as we normally would, which is why sometimes people say, like, I don't know why I said that, or I don't know why I did that. I just got so upset. And it doesn't mean that now that you know why this is happening, that it's an excuse to say, well, it's not my fault because I was going into fight mode, so I couldn't think clearly, so I'm not responsible for anything that comes out of my mouth or anything that I do or however I treat people in those moments, because absolutely, we're always responsible. We're the only ones that are responsible for ourselves. Nobody else is responsible for us. But in those times we're not able to think as logically, we need to know what to do so that we're not saying or doing things that we feel ashamed of, that we regret, that we feel guilty about, that can be harmful to the relationship, that can be really mean and cruel and damaging to the other person, that can really harm and damage us because we're feeling so bad about it later, we're feeling so ashamed of ourselves. It can wreak havoc on our self-confidence and our self-esteem. So there's a lot of good reasons to learn how to manage what's going on in those situations. So quite fittingly, our acronym, our word that we're going to remember and call upon and tune into when we're noticing that intense surge of emotion come up, that anger feeling, the word is stop. Because that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start with S. The letter S stands for stop and take a breath. A big, bad belly breath. You might need 1 breath, you might need 10 breaths, you might need 50 breaths, depending on how worked up you are in that moment. Because what that's going to do is it's going to get that oxygen back up to our brain. It's going to get the blood flowing properly back through our body so that we're not going to be in that quite as, that fighting, feisty, just like anger, got to get it out, got to get the person back, got to give them what's coming to them or whatever it is. That we're getting some oxygen flowing again. And then T stands for tune in to what just happened or what's happening. So really getting an idea, getting clear on, just asking yourself, what just happened? What did the person say? What did the person do? What's going on? What is happening in this situation? And sometimes we forget to do that. Sometimes we get so into reaction and what am I going to do and how am I going to deal with it and how am I going to get through this or whatever it is that we forget to really just pay attention to what is happening. And being more mindful of that, being more present with that, getting clear on what's going on. And then O. O stands for observe. Observe what I'm really feeling. Getting down deep. into what I'm really feeling, because often in those situations, it's anger that comes out, but it's not, the anger isn't really what we're feeling. So anger, for those of you who know or maybe don't know, anger is considered a secondary emotion. So anger is something that we often automatically feel in these types of situations, but it's secondary to what's really going on. It's a way of almost protecting something that's more vulnerable. So a deeper emotion that's being triggered, that's more vulnerable and sensitive to us. So in these situations, maybe someone said or did something that actually really hurt us, that really offended us, that really felt bad. Maybe it made us feel lonely or rejected or worthless or whatever it is, those really vulnerable emotions that we all have. So observing, what am I really feeling? Am I feeling hurt? Am I feeling rejected? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling unimportant? So just taking a minute to tune in and observe what I'm feeling. We forget to do that a lot of the time. We forget to pay attention. And the more we can really kind of pay attention to what we're feeling, we don't have to analyze it to death and be like, why am I feeling this? And why did this happen? And this is my childhood issues or whatever it is. We don't have to go into analysis every single time. Sometimes it can be just as simple as just paying attention to what is the real feeling. Whatever the reason is, maybe it doesn't matter. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. It just is. This is what I'm feeling. And then P stands for plan and prepare how you want to deal with the situation, the issue, whatever just happened. Maybe you're ready now to talk to the person, to tell them that you're not okay with what they did or what they said, that you are ready to talk it through and figure out what the issue is or what's going on, that you're ready to go into problem solving mode, but maybe you're not quite ready for that yet. Maybe you need to take a minute and go for a walk to cool off or go for a run. Maybe you need to take a few minutes to write down your feelings. Maybe if you're a journaler, if you're a writer, to just process through, to process through those emotions before doing anything else. Maybe you need to call and talk to a trusted friend, not to call and like bawl out the other person and talk bad about them, but just say, this is a situation that just happened and I don't know what to do and I need to talk it out. And maybe I need some suggestions, or maybe I just need you to listen until I come to my own solution. Because oftentimes we know what the right answer is or what the most beneficial or healthy or helpful way to deal with the situation is going to be, but we just need a few minutes to talk it through so that we can get there. So whatever it is, taking a few minutes to plan and prepare how you want to proceed. And there's no one right way, and not every situation or circumstance or interaction is going to require the same thing, but what do you need? What do you need to do? So stop and take a breath, tune into what's happening, observe what you're feeling, and proceed, plan, and prepare with what you want to do. It's not only good for our relationships because it prevents further damage, it's also good for us. Because as I was mentioning earlier, when we freak out, when we flip out, when we do things that we regret, that we're ashamed of later on, it really wreaks havoc on our self-esteem and our self-confidence, because we're like, oh, I'm one of those people and I can't control myself and I say mean things and I do hurtful things and that doesn't feel good and I don't like that. And I don't like that about me. And then it really can wreak havoc on our self-esteem. So learning to get more present, to take a second, to get grounded. And another really powerful way to do that is to learn how to be mindful. Now, if you're brand new to mindfulness, I have a video on here that I'll put the link to that explains all about what mindfulness is, why it's good for us, why it helps with things like stress and anxiety and even depression and even sometimes chronic pain and all kinds of issues. So the link is going to be right below this. And then in the next video, I'm going to be talking and telling you and teaching you an extremely simple way to become more mindful in your life every day. You can also get my free tip sheet on 9 unexpected ways to immediately reduce your stress. When you're feeling triggered, even in these situations, 9 unexpected ways that will bring you back down, that will help you feel calmer, more grounded if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anxious. 9 unexpected ways. The link is in the description here. You can grab that. It's free. It's for you. And there's some really good ones in there. There's some fun ones. There's a lot of them, most of them, maybe even all of them you've never heard of before. But they work and they're simple, and some of them are actually really fun to do. So make sure you grab those. And until next time, take good care.